Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about really knowing your why. And I want to read to you a quote from a great book. And the book is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. This is an amazing book to have. If you do not have this book, you definitely want to pick up a copy of it. And I'm just going to read here what he says at the beginning. He says, "There are leaders and there are those who lead. Leaders hold a position of influence. Those who lead inspire us. Whether individuals or organizations, we follow those who lead not because we have to, but because we want to. We follow those who lead not for them, but for ourselves." And so we want to inspire others. And that is really where our why needs to come from. And it's why knowing our why is just so critically important. So I am just going to turn us over to the slides so we can get started with really crafting our why. I'd really encourage everybody to have a piece of paper and a pen while they're watching this, and I'd also really encourage you to pause it as we go along, because I'm going to be asking you questions to really get to your why, and it would be a great idea to actually be doing it at the same time. Okay. So let's just really go with this. And the first thing we wanted to talk about really is our why is really like the light shining through a magnifying glass, right? The stronger it is, the more intense that fire is going to be on that piece of paper. And we want it to be concentrated energy, right? We want to have this clear purpose because it's really what makes us come alive. And this picture of the magnifying glass is really just a perfect analogy of it. Is here's the sun beating down. That's our why. And it's got to be intense, believe me. When it hits that glass, it's going to start this fire of momentum, of energy, of passion that people are going to want to gravitate towards. And that's really the main thing of finding your why, is we want to have people gravitate towards us who want the same things as us, right? So our why breathes life into us. It's inspiring. It's not just a dream, trip somewhere. It's got to be a lot deeper. It's got to connect us to a cause bigger than ourselves. It has to really come from service in order to really impact the way that we want to impact things. So, as I stated, it really is defining as a clear sense of purpose which enables you to focus your efforts on what matters most. And what's so key about this is it compels us to push forward regardless of the obstacles that might be at hand. And in network marketing, there's obstacles, right? There's obstacles that are going to come up because it's a lot of our personal story that comes out in network marketing. And so when we are prospecting, building teams, leading, all of the fears, the things that may have pushed us down somewhere else will come out, and it's easy to stop, right? It's easy to stop when somebody says no, and you hear 20 no's in a row. That it's defeating, and it can be very easy to stop, but we need to have that strong why, so we push through this and get over this fear of rejection, for example. Now, when we're talking about this, our passion becomes clear, our strengths and goals become more sharp into focus, and that's what drives us. That's what really moves us forward in this business. Now, as I mentioned, Simon Sinek, he has some great philosophy regarding knowing your why, and that's what we're going to just chat a little bit about at the start here, because it is very important. So we have this golden circle concept, as he calls it, and we have the what on the outside, And the what, for most people, is very easy to understand because that's really what we do. And it's easy, right? So in Isagenix, what we do is we either share products or we share the compensation plan, right? That's really the what. The how is how they do what they do, and this is often someone's unique selling proposition. This might be your angle, your niche. You know, in chiropractic, for example, I practice a very gentle form of chiropractic called network. So that's my how. For example, in Isagenix, the how would be the 30-day system, right? So we have these products, and how we deliver them is perhaps through the 30-day system or the energy and performance pack or a different pack that is the system. Or if we're talking about the compensation, then it's through our binary compensation plan is the how. Now the why, very few people really know the why because that's the cause. And you know, it's kind of why does it exist? It's why are you doing what you're doing? What is so compelling about what your business has to offer? And this is really the most important part, right? It's what's your purpose? And this is what we're going to be really honing in on and focusing in on, right? So the what is what you do, the how is how you do it, and the why is why you do it. Now, the really cool thing about this golden circle is that it actually correlates to biology, as Simon shares with us. And I love this. I mean, it really hits home, I think, to understand human behavior so that you can impact it. And so what you see here is the same golden circle with what, how, and why going from the outside in. And then you can see over on the right circle, the neocortex on the outside, the what, and the limbic brain on the inside. Now, why is this so important? Well, the neocortex on the outside, it has a lot to do with processes. Okay? It is really geared towards things like rational and analytical stuff. It's language. It's facts and features. Okay. But here's the key. It doesn't drive behavior. And this is the most important part. It doesn't drive behavior. So we can give somebody a whole bunch of facts and figures. We can send them to studies. We can talk to them about this product contains this ingredient and that ingredient and this ingredient and that ingredient. But that does not drive behavior. Now the limbic brain, which is the inner two circles, the how and the why, this is different. The limbic brain is responsible for our feelings such as trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for our human behavior and all our decision making, but it has no capacity for language. So you know when people say, it just feels right. It just, you know, in my gut, I know this to be true. And so this is where this is coming from. And why this is so important is because if we just talk about the what, and we're just in that neocortex, then we're not really going to hit home where we need to really emphasize things. And that's in the limbic brain, because that's where the decisions are being made. So this is why it's so critical to be in the how and the why, so that people feel that trust. And when they feel that trust, they're more apt to make that decision and to partner with you. Right? And again, you know, there's no language to this limbic brain, so it does come down to those feelings. And so we have to become great at sharing the why, so that people can really understand why. Okay? So again, when we look at biology, one of the key concepts is we have to have a need to belong. We all have a need to belong. And when we feel that we belong, we feel connected and we feel safe And we'll really go to great lengths to feel connected and be connected. And again, it's why sharing the why and your vision is so important, because that's what we are doing, is we're creating this connection for people. We're creating this community for people. And when we're doing that, people are going to run the course with you. They're going to be there for the long haul. And whether that's just a product user or a business person or whomever it is that's come in, you want them to be successful. And to me, successful is to continue on with the products instead of just stopping after the 30-day. So it doesn't matter who's coming in. We want to make sure they understand the vision, they understand the why, and they feel connected and feel a sense of belonging. Now, most people and leaders, they lead from that outside in. So there's a lot of conversation about what they do and how they're doing it and that unique proposition, but they never really go deep into the why with their company, and they don't lead. And what we want to do is we really want to reverse that. We want to change out, and we want to start leading from that inside out, right? We want to lead from the why to the how to the what, okay? And because we want to create that vision, and we want to make sure that people's decisions feel right, and they feel connected and trusting you, and they feel that there's integrity. And that is by leading from the inside out. Okay? And because people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And the goal of business should not be to do business with anyone who simply wants what you have. It should be to focus on the people who believe what you believe. When we are selective about doing business only with those who believe in our why, trust emerges. And this trust is so critical, because that is what's going to create that sense of belonging and really create those partnerships for the long haul in this business. Okay, so as I stated, the goal of any business should be to do business with people that believe what you believe. Now, there's two whys that we should really have, and that is our personal why and our inclusive why. Now, why would we want to do that? Well, here's the thing. Our personal why should be so personal, and it's really no one's business, but it should be to the level that makes you want to cry. It should be gut-wrenching. You know, it should really be something that drives you through thick and thin and pushes you over those hard times. When you feel like quitting, when you have those wall-kicking moments, your brain is not going to let you, because you have this compelling why that's so strong. And we don't need to share this with the world, okay? But what we do need to do is we need to share it with ourselves. So by that I mean having your personal why on your screensaver, for example, having it beside your bed, having it in places where you can consistently read it is really important, because you want to keep it as this constant reminder. Now, the other why, which is the more inclusive and inviting why, is the one that you're going to share with everybody. This is the one that you are going to let the world know. And why is it inclusive and inviting? It's inclusive and inviting because you want people to join in. You want them to feel connected. You want them to feel that sense of belonging. Very important. So let's think about this for a little while. Okay, so let's really delve into our why. So the first question I want to ask you is, what makes you come alive? What's that burning desire? What really gets you going? Okay, just think about that. And think about that in, you know, is it sharing products to people because you want people to really get healthy? Is it freeing people? Is it getting those calls when people are successful? Is it being somebody who's a helper? Is it speaking, sharing, talking? What really makes you come alive? Planning, making lists. You know, it sounds silly, but what makes you really come alive? The next, and this is a great quote from William James, and it's all about we want to come alive, because when we come alive, it becomes that real you, and you really get that attitude to follow it. And that's it, people. We have to have something that really gets our juices going, or this is not going to be something that creates that multiple six-figure income for you. This has got to be with passion. So the second question I want to ask you is, what are your innate strengths? In The Element, Sir Ken Robinson says that our element is the point at which natural talent and skill meets personal passion. And when people are in their element, they are more productive, and they add more value and have more personal enjoyment. So when are you in your element? What things are you good at? Details? Are you good at seeing the big picture? Communication, leading, list building, creativity? What are your innate gifts and strengths? Make sure you're writing these down. Pause this as you need it, please. Question 3 is, what can you bring the greatest value to? Think about it, and just what can you bring the greatest value to? Question number 4 is, how you measure life. What do you stand for? Okay. Is it money, love, power, prestige, fame? How will you measure your life? And one thing I want to make crystal clear is that you don't have to choose. It can be many of those things. You don't have to choose it's money or love or this or that. It can be all mutually inclusive. Okay. The next question I want you to ask yourself is, really, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What does that look like? You know, really write that down. Put that down and really see, what does that look like in 5 years from now? Who are you? Are you still that same, professional mom? Are you still working in that factory? Are you still staying at home? Are you still living in the same house? Are you traveling? Are you doing different things? What really is it? And go outside the box. I want to share a story of a friend of mine in Isagenix who actually purchased a RV, beautiful one, by the way, and her 2 children, her husband and her, are now, thanks to Isagenix, traveling around Canada and the US in their RV for a year and doing homeschooling and really getting out there and seeing the world. And maybe that's your vision. What really is your vision? I mean, I would love to go to Europe for the summer and take my kids for 8 weeks and live in different countries and really experience the culture. So where do you envision yourself in 5 years? The next question I want you to ask yourself is to take a look at the values on the Isagenix box. There's integrity, trust. What values really stand out for you? What values do you really pick out that say, yeah, this resonates with me? And I want you to think about it, because this really is, something that you want to have tangible, because it's on the box. There's family, there's purpose, passion, wellness. What is really coming out for you? And add these to your why statement. Put these values in, right? Align yourself with the company that you've aligned with. Because when you know your why, you can lead yourself and others from a place of clarity and integrity. Today you are you, and that is truer than true, and there is no one alive that is fewer than you. And this is so important. We cannot tag on to someone else's why. We can't be someone else. We can't live someone else's dream. We can only do our own. And so it is really important for us to really hone in on ourselves and what we want and what's our vision and how are we going to do it. Okay. And to practice, like I said, practice is key. So say it over and over again. Make it yours. You can muscle test. So how we do that is you just lift both arms horizontally, and you are going to need a partner for this, but you are going to say your why and have that partner try to push down on your arms. And if it's kind of weak, it may not be the why that's going to move you. It's just not strong enough. It's not in your core, and you may want to rethink. You want to tell your family and friends, and you want to lead with that. Without action, there is no life. You can't get results or experience your potential if you don't take action. If you want to have an impact, you have to aspire to make a difference. Then you better start doing it. Nothing is worse than waiting for life in the false comfort of inaction. And why is this so important? It's so important because we can't have all this why and all this passion and excitement in something without doing the action. So it goes hand in hand, right? We have to have the know-how, we have to have the why, and then we have to go ahead and have the action. So with that, I want to congratulate you on working on your why, because this is really a critical part in really honing in your skills for building this business. And I'd love to hear everybody's why. And if you want to share your inviting an inclusive why to all of us, you could do so by just posting it on our Facebook group, getting it out there, starting to share it with the world so that people really start to align with you. And I look forward to hearing everybody's why.